Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the Great British Grand Prix and it's a sprint race event here for the one-shot qualifying first of all in the dry conditions. It's Sulkin on top of the times. It's Zingy who retires from qualifying. They were not able to get a sufficient lap. They've retired to the car. It's Sulkin in P1 looking for pole, but they've made a mistake on the exit of the corner. Heischler's there. Nifo's on the top. Can they get it through the final chicane? Will Heischler be able to fight back and be on top? No! Nifoyan gets pole position for the one-shot qualifying session to prepare for the sprint race. What a result that was there. Brusco just getting to P2 at the last second. I think Heischler making a mistake out the final corner. Sulkin P3, Heischler, Jericho Willis, Igor, Charlie, Zingy and Verf. Verf DSQing from the qualifying session there. The championship leader is in the last position on the grid. We'll be back for the sprint race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? The Racing Bull on the outside line. You've got the Williams on the right-hand side, but Sulkin trying to get through. It's triple. It's three wide. I do not believe it. There's Heischler getting a brilliant move into P2, but can they hold on to it? There's contact, and that's Briscoe going down the order. Jericho Willis going to try and find a way through as well. It's Sulkin who makes a mistake and spins. I do not believe it. They're still in the right direction, but they are down the order. Verf makes progress. Igor loses positions off the start as well. Charlie right there. We've got Zingy, but it's side by side as we see Heischler and Brusco once again battling it out, and the Williams gets back through to P2. Nifo running away 9/10 ahead in the first lap, pulling to the right hand side to try and minimize track distance. They could see the cars behind battling it out, and they wanted to pick who to give the slipstream to. It is Heischler going off the circuit and Jericho Willis holding on nicely behind them, but they've got to make sure they don't make any more mistakes, otherwise they could be in trouble. We've got all the same tyre except from Jericho Willis on the hard compound. Nifo breaking the toe up ahead as they can do so. They're far enough ahead to do that. Jericho Willis just having a look as they're pretty close to the back of their teammate right now, all saving battery. Is that going to be an opportunity for Zingy to send it on the inside line? And they will do so. They break as late as they can, and they are going to be getting there nicely. Aggressive, but very well done, and a perfect time to do it. Lap 209, it's a sprint race after all, so you don't get that many opportunities. Without DRS, a dive down the inside there is brilliant, and they've still got DRS range of the car ahead, although only just, but they will get there because DRS is already available. As you look in the rear wing of the Racing Bull car, it opens up wide. We're going to get maybe Verf have a look, but no, Jericho Willis a little bit too far ahead for this one. It now does mean that Nefo's advantage that they brought at the beginning of this race is no longer, but I don't think they were really thinking about that. 9/10 away, and then a lot of battery being used by the cars behind. It's gonna still be a DRS to the cars behind in the 25 regulations when DRS is enabled on the second lap. It's brutal compared to what we used to see, but it definitely gives us something more to watch. We've got Briscoe in DRS tracks right now, 7/10 behind at the moment, but they will be able to try and line up a move. We've got the Scotsman who's right behind Heischler, and they are looking very racy right now, but would they go for another move into the chicane? No way. Way too far back for this one. Sulkin, who was competing for pole position earlier on, 1.7 seconds away. A DRS train around Silverstone, absolutely killer. It's so tough to fight against. And right now that's going to be very difficult. Charlie broken away from DRS from Verf, and there's Eagle with them, so maybe Sulkin can get in on that one, but that does mean that now Charlie may not be able to regain the time on the Hungarian just ahead. They are so close to doing it, but I think they've just missed it. If we look at the rear wing of the Williams, it is just gone, and yeah, I think they're going to be dropped by the train up ahead. Niffa, of course, controlling it. They are the conductor. Briscoe makes the decisions, though. They have control partially. That's a pretty straightforward situation for them to be in, but it's the pressure for Heischler to try and get something done, but to also not let this man, who's currently behind him, get ahead as the early championship leader, then losing it after a few bad races, winning the last round in Australia and now jumping to I think 3 in the championship, with Jericho Willis in P2 and Neverth in P1. Now 6th place, looking at scoring 3 points, 1 point for Eagle, none for Sulkin, sorry. We see Charlie get back into the battle. We see Zingy force a mistake on Heischler, and a switchback is opened up, and there's no traction for the McLaren driver. And there it is! I do not believe it! I do not believe it! Zingy's round! Trying to go for the move, and they're down to P9! No way has that just happened! Briscoe P2, they stay there. Heischler stays there, but no! Jericho Willis now putting the pressure on, and the DRS is gone after all of that. It is brutal, and it's Briscoe fighting for the victory. There is Briscoe going into the lead of the sprint race here in Silverstone. It's Heischler who stays P3, and it's Jericho Willis who's only going to be more powerful as this session goes on with that hard tyre. Just think of what they can do in the final laps. But Zingy has spun. I do not know what to say. What a tragic situation to be in a sprint race. 2.27 seconds or 2.4 seconds away from the car ahead, and currently scoring no points in the sprint race. I believe they have left, so whether a car ahead of them has an issue or not and they go into a point scoring position, that will not make a difference. They will be out. And they will be classed as disconnected if they don't rejoin. It's frustrating, but there is another opportunity here in Silverstone. That is the beauty of a sprint race event. Briscoe is looking for 2 opportunities to try and redeem themselves from the last 2 races, but they didn't really do that much wrong. It just all kind of fell apart gradually. So they're looking to try and get their good efforts a top reward. Now, Niffa's going to try and take that away, and they want to try and get a top reward for the first time this season if they can, as they have already got a few podiums. 3 podiums so far this season out of now 5 races. That was Australia, their worst race result. Actually, do I mean 2 podiums? 3 podiums. I can't remember. He's got a lot of podiums so far already, and he's looking for that top result. DRS available for everybody except from Sulkin and Zingy. Sulkin having more issues, unfortunately, and I'm not entirely sure what the situation is for them, but they just had a few too many problems. It's Jericho Willis who is putting the pressure on his teammates, but Heischler's not willing to let that one go for now, so it is an all-out battle. Heischler's got battery, Jericho Willis not so much, but Jericho's going to have the tyres in a few moments' time, so realistically, if Jericho Willis wants to go for the move, he's got to send it now. Mifo very likely feeling that they're in control at the moment by being in this position. I do apologise for the delay, but we'll be going back to the screen very shortly. We're just going to try and fix this, as we do believe there is an issue. And hopefully that is everything. And there we go. We should be all good to go. As Briscoe leads the way, Nifo P2. We've got the two McLarens, we've got Verf, we've got Charlie and Eagle Pro. Sulkin in P8, and it's Zingy hoping to get back into the lobby, but I don't think it's allowing them to. Once again, it's lucky that we've got two sessions to try and run this race. 3/10 that splits the top two. It is a close one. On board with Ruska right now, looking behind. And there is the Racing Bull car. One down at the back, and one hoping to be at the front by the time we finish lap 9. Frustrating one for Zingy, but they will have another opportunity. They don't need to worry about that on one end. And the big points, of course, are scored in the race, so it is the more important one. Nifo, they've got a couple of laps to decide on what to do, on when to go, and how to manage the McLarens behind, because they're going to be trying to work together. That being said, so far we have seen them fight it out a little bit. Heischler missing 2 races due to technical difficulties, and Jericho Willis P2 in the championship. Heischler trying to fight for it, Jericho fighting for it, and it's a difficult one to take really, because it means that everybody else is going to have an advantage if they're fighting each other. That being said, if you don't have a teammate, you're not really gaining an advantage or losing an advantage. If they did, it's going to be Heischler sending it to the inside line, but never going to get there. And Nifo carries on as they're trying to not lose the DRS range, and they've just held on to the back of Briscoe. Heischler still continuing to push, and they are going to look at trying to go for a move. They're spamming the battery on the inside line. They will not get there, and Nifo covers it off very well with a different line that they've taken. I did notice that when racing them previously. They take some very interesting lines, and they both are very quick around that corner, and it just means it's impossible to get past the guy. Jericho Willis, though, one to watch surely with this tyre on the final lap. They're going to have all the confidence in the world on the traction zones compared to the others. Do they have everything else? Do they have the resource, the battery, to be able to do something. Well, Heisler's made a mistake, and here it is. Jericho Willis going to go for a move on their teammate. They use the battery, and it is the outside line, and I don't think Heisler's going to fight this one in the end. He does have to let his teammate go. Jericho Willis is going to try and charge for the top spot, but it's Nifo who's been waiting for the final lap. That being said, are they too far away? Is 7/10 close enough to go for a move? Jericho Willis is so close. I think Jericho is going to try and have a go at getting P2 sooner rather than later, rather than allowing Brusco to go for it. There it is, the inside line for the McLaren driver, and they are going to get there. They're ahead, and they're going to hold on to DRS, I think. They are going to hold on to DRS. Jericho Willis is going to try and power towards P1 in the final half a lap. Can they get the job done? Will this hard tyre play out well for them? I don't quite know, but Jericho Willis will possibly look at taking, well, a massive step closer to the championship lead. Brusco in P1 trying to take their first taste of victory in the sprint race here at Silverstone. They've got less than half a lap to go around this brilliant circuit. DRS is available for Jericho Willis, but they're dropping back as they go into Maggots and Beckett's. About the exit though, Jericho's not going to be close enough. They've given it their all. They're trying to use what's left of the battery, and they've given it an amazing shot. We've got one opportunity, potentially into the chicane, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Oh, Nifo goes down. Oh, Heisler is going to have to try and do everything they can, but the champion is going to look at the switchback. It's Brusco who takes P1. Jericho Willis in P2. Then it's Heisler, Nifo, Verf, Charlie, Eager Pro, and Sulkin at the back of the field, with Zingy disconnecting on technical grounds in the end. What a race we just had there to start off the evening. And I don't know what to say. So much happened. Brusco's on P1 for the first time in LSI. It's Jericho Willis in P2. Then we've got Heisler in P3. Nifo, Verf, Charlie, Eagle, Sulkin, and disconnecting was Zingy. That is the race director just in case. And then we get the session results. We'll be back for the qualifying session in about 10 minutes. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're right now in qualifying for the main race after an incredible sprint race for eventfulness. That was a hell of a race. And now we go all again for qualifying. You could see that sending it through the Maggots and Beckett's corner was Briscoe's Verth's just beaten. That's Zingy disconnected once again, unfortunately. Hopefully they can fix any issues, but it really doesn't look great. Briscoe goes into the pit lane and doesn't complete the lap. Heifler's P3, they're a 10th behind or so. And then it's Jericho Willis in P4, not too far away either. Sulkin and then Nifo in P6. We'll see who can set their lap next. Well, it is going to be Jericho Willis who comes into the final chicane as they go out the final few corners. What's it going to be for the American as they cross the line and they go provisional pole 2 tenths ahead, or 2 tenths improvement, 1 tenth ahead right now. 1 tenth on the timing, but half a tenth in reality. Sulkin is going to be, I believe, looking to set their lap next. We've got Nifo, who is also going for it, but they're actually slowing down to try and recoup. We've got Zingy with more issues. And it looks like it's an internet there. Unfortunately, that is going to be Zingy's day done, and it's Sulkin to P1. 7-6-0. Incredibly small margins between the top two right now, but looking good to go. Egapro will be getting ready for their lap next, and then we've got Nifo who starts a lap of Silverstone. Their teammate unfortunately out of this one. Into the first corner they go. 7th gear, holding the revs up nice and high, braking into the chicane just before the 50, and then trying to get as close as you can to the inside sausage curb without touching it, and then hoping that front end does kick in, not the rear end, and they go for DRS and down the first straight, pulling it all the way to the right hand side in this year's game compared to previous. And that front end is really not sticking as we've seen previously, and they've backed out of it, not happy with the lap, and that is going to be done for them. Egapro is going to be next to set their lap time as they go into the same corners right now, and the front end is slowly bleeding in. It's a little bit of understeer, but it was still tidy enough on the exit, trying to get that throttle down and point the car to the outside to open up the steering as you now charge to Copse Corner. You'll power through, stay within track limits just about. In the newest era of Formula 1 car, it's pretty easy to do so. Maggots and Beckett's slightly shifting down the gears and then brake into the final one, and then back on the throttle as hard as you can with DRS open wide for the final time as they go to Stowe Corner. An absolutely awesome corner for some crazy last lap overtakes if you can get the DRS to get you there, and then send it into the final chicane in 3rd gear, then up to 4th gear as you try and staying in 3rd gear, fair enough, to keep those revs up and not get any extra torque. It's 3rd place now for Egapro with a 25.806, who is not lifting off the throttle, and they're going for another full pace lap to try and get back to the pit lane if they can, but that's going to be a tall order to do so. Everyone in the pit lane at the moment just waiting for the perfect time to leave before they go for their final runs. So it is Egapro, the only car out, and they might have backed off at trying to get back to the pit lane. It's crunch time. It's officially crunch time. The final runs are upon us. It's Verf up next. And up finally for their qualifying runs here. We've of course got the unfortunate situation with Zingy, who hasn't set a lap time, and unfortunately their ghost car is going to be in the lobby as they can't join back. So it is going to be frustrating, but hopefully nothing's going to happen. Usually we would never be affected by a ghost car. Ironically, whenever there's a ghost car in the lobby, it always seems to go accordingly that we see a problem with a ghost car. Hopefully that isn't going to be the case. Verf is hoping that that's not going to be the case and they can have a straightforward race to score some good points and try and regain some ground on the championship lead if they can. Sulkin currently trying to do what they can to show their performance in that car and go for pole position that they missed out from the sprint qualifying session earlier on that dropped them down the order, and then they had issues in the first few moments. Here it is though, the final runs. Turn 1 looking tidy, looking aggressive, and then into the first chicane as they try and bleed this car through, but that's a little bit too aggressive into turn 3 through to 4, and having to slow the car down a little bit too much. But into the Hanger straight, or the Wellington straight, sorry, and then on the exit through the right-hander, just trying to push that car as far through the corner as you can with that throttle without going off the circuit. They do it well, and they go into Colt's corner, come out of it. You can see the car is all over the place regarding its limits, but on the driver's side it looks stable. Maggots, Beckett's stiff as ever, and then DRS available as you've got a 1.5 tenth improvement just over. What can it be? Egapro is done with qualifying, or they will not be able to go again. Of course, Zingy's AI is done. We've got Verf coming into the final chicane. The green Sauber has got a final bit to go, and they've gone all the way to the limit, to the sausage curbs. All at the end there. What's it going to be for Verf? And they cross the line to go provisional pole. And that's a brilliant improvement. But is anybody going to be able to fight back? It's going to be Heischler right now in P6. What can the Dutchmen do? Can they compete for the top spot once more? Oh, and they can't do it. They didn't improve in the end. They're down. They don't improve. We've got Charlie, who invalidates their teammates who just won the sprint race. It's Brusco, P5. What can they do? They've been validated on the exit of Stowe Corner as well. Everything is changing here in Silverstone. And what was that lap time there from Brusco in the end? It would have been a 25.7. It wouldn't have been enough in the end. It's going to be Sulkin who goes across the line to improve, but not quite enough to get there. Jericho Willis. Oh, and they're not improving either. It's going to be Niffo, the final car, to go across the line. What's it going to be? And they do get way up the field in the end in the last second. And there it is. Niffo and P3. Brilliant for their qualifying performance so far this weekend. But it's Verf, the championship leader, on pole position with a 1.5 tenth advantage. Absolutely amazing. Sulkin in P2 and Niffo in P3. That's the race director. And we'll be back for the race. We'll see you in a bit. This is going to be awesome. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? Verf on the outside line, the inside for Solkin. Will they be able to get there? They will. Are they going to hold the advantage though as they go through the left-hand corner? The Sauber with the upper hand for a moment. It's Niffo behind. Oh, and Verf. Verf's gone straight on. The inside line for Niffo. They look for P1 in the early moments, and they're going to still try and keep their nose in just for a moment, but I do not believe it. P1, the championship leader, last in the first corner. What has just happened? Niffo goes to the inside once more, but it's not going to be enough. Jericho Willis sits right behind them, and then we've got Eagle, Heischler, and then we've got Briscoe and Charlie, the winner from the sprint race, down in P6 right now off the start. And we're going to look at the tyre situation. It is the AI of Zingy, of course, with soft tyres on. Verf trying to stay within this race. There's Jericho Willis getting pressure from Igapro. There is Nifayan putting pressure on Solkin, trying to have a go at a victory as they just missed out on earlier on. They missed out on the podium as well. Are they going to look for the early move to the inside line? They don't, but it is going to be Heischler sending it down the inside at Stowe Corner. Are they really going to get there at Stowe Corner? They've got the chicane to come up. They're going to try and stick it the long way around to the outside, but that's never going to work. They're just going to force Igor off the road, and it somehow worked, but it's not worked. Oh, I do not believe what I've just seen. Briscoe goes to the inside line. No one wanted to give up, and the safety car, the virtual safety car, has been deployed. How does that happen? No one wanted to give up, and the Demon Dragon kicks in, and you are a passenger to the wall, and you pray that you're not out. The safety car has now been deployed. It's been upgraded to a safety car. It's Heischler with damage, it's Igor with damage, and it's Briscoe out of the race. Solkin leads the way on a set of medium tyres. It wouldn't make sense to go in for a second set now. A spectacular way to end the weekend for one of the Williams. Good to see Charlie in the lobby this weekend to now try and score the points, but a shame. It is a shame. On a high there for the Portuguese driver for the first half of the evening, and to the lowest low. We're on that too. And we're watching the pit lane. No one going into the pits for this one. They all stay out, except from, of course, the damaged runners of Heischler and Igor Pro. It does mean that Heischler and Igor are going to suffer from the ghost car of Zingy. The benefit is that Zingy's car is on a default strategy, which isn't the optimal strategy. So eventually, not only should the Racing Bull car be a lot slower, but it should end up with a different strategy, which would put it maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds behind everyone anyway. Hopefully that's the case, and hopefully it stays out. We've got Solkin in P1 and Nefo in P2, being promoted after this one went straight on and is still last of the runners effectively, because we've got a ghost car behind, and then Heischler and Igor just made pit stops onto their other tyres. Now the benefit is that Heischler and Igor can go back onto the mediums later on. And they can also get their tyres warmed up a little bit, and the cars ahead of them will have their tyres cooled down. So maybe they won't lose such so much on that hard tyre, but they don't really gain anything. They only just get a second chance after almost being out of this race. And I'll tell you what, I don't know how two of the three involved in that crash are actually in this race. But that is a spectacular crash to survive. So impressive stuff. Heisler and Igor have got to take that as they can, count the lucky stars and get on with it. And this man's got to try and make their way up the order if they can after one of the strangest first corners, which I'm sure we'll be able to hear about after the race. But yeah, not the way they wanted it. They had good pace, great pace, with a lovely pole position. But are they going to be able to fight their way back to the front? This is the man that's hungry for a victory. And sooner rather than later, ideally, with some brilliant performances in the recent times, a massive amount of improvement over the course of the season. But they're going up against the champion and the F1.5 champion directly behind. It's not going to be easy with a driver of this much experience. They know every trick in the book. There it is, the safety cars in this lap. And we'll see how it goes. Really backing up the pack, warming up their tyres, scrubbing it all the way. The safety cars in the pit lane, they can go at any point that they want to. And just waiting to direct the car in the right direction before they put the throttle down. Nifo's ready, not warming up their tyres. They're ready to go whenever Sulkin wants to go for it. Sulkin's gone for it and Nifo has reacted. And they can't back off now. There is one go rule. There it is, just to confirm it. And Nifo has reacted incredibly well. Jericho Willis not too far away either. There's a little bit of a gap between Charlie 7/10. Not too much to worry about. And then a similar gap between them and Verf. Heisler making progress on the AI car of Zingy. So did Eager Pro. And now they try and do what they can with this hard tyre that they've been given with the second chance that they've been given. And there is the AI car. We've got Sulkin though leading the way after a brilliant restart. No problems at all. Nifo though was ready. They know what they're doing. And they know how to counteract any shenanigans that may be occurring. As Brusco states in the chat, through goes Hamilton, failed. Sorry guys, takes full blame. It is a shame to see that go through, and unfortunately it didn't work out in the end. It was a very difficult situation. A difficult situation though is also for Sulkin, who is leading the way, and they've got a lot to lose and not much to gain, especially on that 5 out of 26 when you've got so much ahead of you of this race. Jericho Willis directly behind Nifo. They're looking to try and stay ahead in the championship lead for McLaren, and try and get themselves ahead of Verf after Verf has had a not ideal sprint race and a pretty bad start to this race so far. Eager Pro getting the fastest lap as they start on the restart. They must have planned it out quite nicely really with that, and I guess they had a bit more time to really gain as they've overtaken Heisler and they overtook the AI car of Zingy. So there's more space in front of them to make progress on when you're in a big old train that's got a lot of dirty air. Jericho Willis not in a position to make a move, and it's Niffo who was having a very different braking point to Sulkin. That could have been really bad news right there, as they're taking different lines to try and get themselves the best grip possible with the dirty air that they are being dealt from the Ferrari directly in front of them. It doesn't look like an easy situation to be in. And there is the train into Maggots and Beckett's, followed by the McLaren. The DRS is available, and I think Niffo's surely got to go for the move, otherwise they might get overtaken by some of the other cars. They're making the move late on into the straight. It's the inside line still by Sulkin. Niffo scrubbing at the front tyres to try and keep it in a straight line. Sulkin is going to have a look to the inside, but they end up really just going slightly defensive for Jericho Willis, surely just to keep themselves in P2. That was a scary one. I thought they were going to try and send it directly back down the inside, even on the first attack from Niffo. But there we go. There it is. Niffo's P1, Sulkin P2, Sulkin in the tracks. We've got Charlie in P4, making good progress in this race, staying out of trouble so far. And they can see the leaders, they can see the glory just up in front. They know that they can get involved. Multiple race winner in LSI, both tiers of course. Hoping try and add to that if they can, as you always do when you enter a race. You want to win, nothing less. Verth wanting to win the championship, and in order to do that they need to get back into P1 from where they started this race. Going from competing and just missing out on F1.5 now to leading the F1 Championship is a pretty impressive stat for sure. They've got Igapro and Heisler directly behind them. Igapro, a former LSI F1 champion as well back in the 2019 game. A lot of experience as well behind them. You cannot count them out. Effectively veterans directly behind you, and you're in the championship lead with a lot of pressure on your shoulders. After a mistake that they've had, they're not really thinking about the championship, they're just thinking about getting back to that P1 spot, just dialed it in. Very close to the inside line now on the sausage curb, and I think they ended up actually having a correction really. Their tyres are looking pretty poor. It's going to be side by side though with Heisler and Igapro, as they have somehow managed to go interlocked almost out the exit of turn 5. Igapro is going to allow Heisler to go through, who blasts the battery to get in front, and they will switch up. Heisler now going to try and go on the attack here for Verth, as it wasn't possible by Igapro. But Sulkin, with a clear run of DRS after spending a whole lap behind Nifayan, will now have an opportunity to get back through. Will they go for it though? That's the question. Will they try and go for it with a decent push of ERS and possibly fail and then risk losing out to the car behind? Or will they not and just try and stay ahead of Jericho Willis? Well, a little bit too far back realistically this time, so they are going to have to just try and stay behind. Jericho, however, is very close, and Jericho's getting pressure from Charlie directly behind them. So Jericho might be on a bit of a mission to make a move sooner rather than later. You can't afford to be kind, because other people won't be kind to you. So Jericho Willis is going to have to be cruel when they go to the inside line. Are they going to be able to get it done? The outside is available. They will open up the steering as they go down the straight. It's going to be a drag race, as there's a bit of contact tucking into the slipstream. Will they get the momentum once more? It's Charlie directly watching behind, but no, Jericho Willis will not have the momentum to get back through. I thought we'd see them dive to the inside line, but that wasn't enough. and it's now 1 second. It's Charlie going for the move. Absolutely incredible stuff right there. I didn't expect to see that happen, but they go for the switchback on Jericho Willis, and they get ahead, but it's once again another massive blast of battery here for Jericho, and it wasn't a good corner though. It was a terrible corner. They lost a massive amount of speed and ended up still just staying ahead as they fought that position hard. They've got no battery left. Charlie tried to give it their all. It's Sulkin P2, but Sulkin's lost out. Sinifayan, it's now to the outside line here for Jericho Willis with a clear move into Stowe, and now a slingshot is going to be the best attempt at trying to catch up to the Racing Bull. But if that's not the case, then I don't know what's going to happen, because Nifo's just got a ticket to run away with this one. 1.4 seconds, Jericho Willis now on the attack instead of Sulkin to try and get something done here. And I will add, of course, Jericho Willis and Charlie just had a battle, so Sulkin pushing to try and catch Nifo and then failing. That means that you've got 3 of these cars in the lead of this train effectively with no battery to try and catch the one car directly in front of them. Brutal stuff, absolutely brutal. The gap is staying as it is. Jericho Willis is managing this very, very well. There it is, inside line as Heischler goes for the move on Charlie. Charlie off the circuit right there, and they go down behind Eager Pro as well, as the hard tyre is going very nicely for these guys. Are they going to be able to get some more moves done? I don't know. They've got battery, but are too far back on Sulkin, and Charlie just lost 2 positions in a few corners. As Heischler went for that move into Kopp's corner. Not a nice place to go for it, but if you spot the opportunity and you think you can get it done safely, then why not? I think Charlie's going to have a different thing to say. Charlie into the pit lane. First of the pit lane runners to make a normal stop. Of course, not considering damage and AI cars. Lap 11 out of 26, almost halfway into this Grand Prix, and that's why we've seen the Williams consider the pit lane. It's going to be a difficult one stop to the end of this Grand Prix, but not impossible. Jericho Willis has taken 3/10 out of Nifoyan's lead, showing some good performance, but still not enough and on the edge of battery. There it is though, 9/10. Will they be able to maintain that? Pushing to the limit, both drivers up in P1 right now. Sulkin 9/10 away, trying their best to hold on, but they might even lose out, and that would mean Heischler and Eager Pro would blast through, and they might even do so anyway. DRS is available for Jericho Willis. They've managed to bring everybody back into it. DRS is available for Sulkin, and despite the tire advantage, it's not going to be enough for Heischler to be able to go for a move. Oh, and that is Bollards, I think, being taken out by Nifoyan as they go into the pit lane. That's Sulkin speeding into the pit lane and getting caught out by the slow speed limit here in Silverstone. Easily done. It catches a lot of people out. Oh, what a shame for Sulkin to have that issue when everything is going really quite well. Speechless. We've got Verf into the pit lane as well. So 3 cars making the call this time around after Charlie has made their call, and we'll watch on board to see with the Polish driver how are they going to fare against everybody else. Is the undercut worth it? Well, they're actually kind of in the tracks trying to attack Sulkin. The outside line is going to be used, and the outside line is going to be optimized, utilized. They made the move. DRS available to then help them stay in front of Sulkin, and Sulkin is going to try and force a move to the inside line. That's never going to work. They're never going to get there, and it's Verf still a little bit behind. So Charlie's move did actually gain them positions. They're now ahead of Sulkin. They're not ahead of Nifo, who's now 1.6 seconds behind. With Jericho Willis going for the overcut, they're going to only lose more time. So actually, Nifo is ahead even more than we think. And by going into the pit lane at that stage, they have just absolutely hit the jackpot, as now the second car in the train. Oh, and what was that there? Has got a 10-second time penalty. How has Sulkin retired on the straight? Well, that must be a crash with... It would have been Charlie. Charlie into the pit lane already. Is there a front wing missing on that car? Doesn't seem so. Is there damage though that just hasn't been repaired by the game? That's the question. We see them get closer and there isn't damage on that car. So I'm not entirely sure what the situation is there. Nifo has pitted and they're on old medium tyres with a 10-second time penalty that we didn't see. So I didn't realise that that was the situation. And I think that's because they wanted to go for a set of medium tyres for the end of the Grand Prix, as Charlie's just done, but they've ended up getting a 10-second by going into the pit lane once more and getting onto the wrong tyre, maybe misjudging the allocation that they've been given, and that is a mistake that can easily catch you out. There's Heisman to the pit lane with Eager Pro following behind, and these two drivers who were at the back of the pack by far and into the wall with no front wing, looking like they were going to DNF. All of a sudden, a P1 and P2. P1 and P2 with no time penalties. Incredible stuff. Different tyres as well. Fresh mediums for Igor, fresh hards for Heischler. Verf in P3 on hards that are fairly fresh as well. Slowly making their way up the order as they try and show that they can win a Grand Prix, as they had the pace to do so in qualifying. Jericho Willis in P4. Jericho Willis, Verf knows that they can win a Grand Prix because they have done it already so far this season, and they've done that in Austria. Charlie ahead of the American, that's medium, ahead of the hard tyre. We've currently got a hard medium tyre situation, with Niffer going in for another pit stop onto another fresh set of hards. They do drop now behind the AI car of their teammate, but they don't have a time penalty to serve anymore, which is good to see. It's going to be a brutal race to the end, but it's going to be outright pace. The tyres should be good. The medium runners are going to maybe have a few questions, but not too many. Both McLarens on exactly the same compound right now. Eager Pro on slightly fresher mediums than Charlie. Charlie making that second pit stop to go onto that fresh medium tyre. So it is a decision. It wasn't a mistake. Eager Pro, I believe, has made that decision as well. So we'll see. Is that medium tyre going to pay off or not? I don't know. But I will say that Heischler's effectively got to fight Igor in the early stages to prevent that medium tyre from breaking away, because if they do, then they have an opportunity to win the race. Will that be possible? Will that be easy? No. But it's worth a try for both sides. Igor wants to win again. Heischler wants to win again. Now, unfortunately, we don't really have any answers as to why this safety car has occurred here. But hopefully that's the last safety car we get and we can go racing once again. The chances are Nifo will catch up to the pack here and we will go racing on lap 16. We wait for the call, and there it is. Eichler slows up the pack, and everybody all of a sudden comes to a halt, and it's all a little bit difficult. But then they eventually find the groove as the lead car controls the pace. Going very slowly right now, you can see from Igor's point of view. When will they go for it? Eichler waiting, waiting, waiting. And they've gone for it now. A very, very, very slow run. And that was super, super slow. All of a sudden to a big speed. Oh! And Nifo's tried to overtake Zingy. Nifo's tried to overtake the AI car. And surely that's not going to work. I don't know how they've done that. But there must have been an issue with the AI car. And they've got the job done. No, they do get a 10-second time penalty for ignoring the yellow flag, as the AI car was just completely slow. I understand why they did that. It makes complete sense. And it's really unfortunate that, of course, whenever we have a ghost car, it affects the race. Eager Pro in P2, and the mediums are now going to be in full attack, and they've got to try and utilise it as soon as they possibly can. Otherwise, it is all pointless. They've got to try and win this Grand Prix from lap 16 to 20, because Heischler's going to try and win it on lap 23, 4, 5 and 6. The grip is there, you can see it. The dirty air is going to kick in as well, and it's not going to make it easy. They back up. They look for the better run. Do they get it? They don't. It's going to be straight line speed galore, but no DRS to give them an advantage, and they just have to wait. They're able to make a slight gap on Verf, which actually just helps Verf really staying ahead of Charlie, because they have a gap ahead to catch up to the cars in front that may battle, and it means that Charlie won't have such an easy time at getting a move done in a straight line if the cars were to be bunched up in front. But 8 tenths is pretty brutal. They've got to try and keep it consistent, and it's Eager Pro already going for the move, and they've already got P1. I did not expect them to go for it at that corner, but they are ahead, and I know that DRS is available, but with the traction with that tyre, they're going to be able to cover off any re-overtake here into the next few corners. I just don't know how it's going to play out for the following corners after that. Will they be able to break away? Will they be able to break DRS in a couple of laps' time? 6 tenths is already the advantage. They're pushing as hard as they possibly can. They're going to give it everything, but so is Heischler, and Heischler is looking quick in the high speed. DRS available. Heisler is going for it. I knew that they would. I knew that they had to try and force an attack as much as they could to prevent that medium tyre from breaking away. But did they need to use all the battery that they just used? Because now, do they have an option to catch back up? Well, actually, yes. They've got a lot of battery in that car. They've got a brilliant opportunity to stay within DRS range. And Heisler is now strong. Eager Pro has a bit of trouble. Verf is directly behind, only 2 laps older tyres. Although they are locking those rears and they've got pressure from behind, so maybe that's not quite a simple situation that I thought it may be. The train runs. Eagle leads. Heisler controls. Verf watches with Charlie for pressure. Jericho Willis, having a great race earlier on, has been really kind of torn out of it due to the safety car, as did Niffer, of course. These guys were running P1. We've had effectively a complete flip of the grid from a few laps ago. And yes, it is effectively a complete flip. There it is. Heisler continues to try and put the pressure on, but it's not possible. The battles continue. The pressure mounts, but so far ahead is the green car. The McLaren, though, in a stronger position in my opinion. Just because, well, really, Heisler should have the worst tyre at this stage, but in a couple of laps it's only going to get better. It's just whether they can hold on with the pressure of fighting for the victory. They're battering the battery already to just catch back up, just to make sure that that consistent pressure is put on the car behind, or ahead, and not allowing the car behind to get anywhere too close. Verf just watches this battle in front as Eager Pro is, I think, likely getting overtaken on this lap. It's closer than ever before. DRS is available. Heisler's 3 tenths behind with battery to use, as we've seen. And there's the move done. Heisler goes to the racing line. Dirty has kicked up in Eagle's face. And those mediums are coming to a close already. And I thought that medium tyre was probably a strategy to really look out for, but it's not been the one that I was hoping it to be. It wasn't going to be a close race as I thought it would be. Oh, and there's a move to the inside. Jericho Willis trying to put the pressure on Charlie, whose tyres are slowly dying. And although it was advantage Charlie, or before, it's now Jericho Willis, although Jericho all over the rear end, sliding everywhere, looking to the inside line as they continue to try and put the pressure on. That breaks a big gap between them and Verf. And Jericho has got to take it easy at where they're putting this pressure on, because if Charlie loses his DRS, which they're half a tenth away and they have now lost, it's going to be a big problem. And they're now going side by side in Copse Corner. Charlie goes off the circuit. Jericho Willis now goes side by side into Maggots and Beckett's, and Niffo is just a passenger to all of this, and they can't do anything about it. DRS will be available for Jericho Willis, but a terrible line means Niffo goes through. No DRS available for Charlie, and the double overtake is on the cards. The outside line, the big swoop around the outside, and Charlie still keeps their nose in as Niffo's hoping for a slingshot, but it's never going to work. And now they've been double overtaken, and they've now got no DRS. They're 2 seconds behind. I don't know what just happened there. That was the most confusing bit of racing I've seen. But Niffo's ahead, and now we've got the hard tyre ahead of Charlie, but just the driver that we thought it wasn't going to be just yet. So that was, yeah, that's happened. Top three on their own, racing away. Heischler in P1, 2 laps fresher tyre than Verf, with Egapro in P2 on mediums that are only going to get older. Verf's got to make progress here on Egapro, and they've got to try and hold on to the DRS whilst doing so. Otherwise, Heischler, after missing 2 races so far this season, is going to look at taking their second victory of the season, as they really try and put a point on this championship. It will still be, though, Verf breaking away in the lead. A race that's gone up and down and upside down, left and right and front and back. I don't know where to look and I don't know what to say, but we're not over yet. Lap 22 out of 26 and Niffo is catching the battle up ahead. That's a brilliant performance to catch up to the cars ahead with DRS, but it maybe just seems that Heischler, Igor and Niffo are in a bit of a just kind of trail to try and make it as far as they can into this race before they go on all-out attack. That being said, Igor's position is only going to get more complicated, and Verf isn't exactly putting pressure on to the car ahead. So this battle, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's just slowly falling apart, and it's all this man's for the taking, but it's side by side. The battles continue. It's Jericho Willis. The outside line is shown. It's the inside line now. It's the traction race, and it will be to the McLaren. You're always going to get there in the end. And now they go to Copse Corner, but Charlie isn't going to go for the move this time. And they stay ahead, does Jericho Willis. Niffo, as close as you can get to DRS without actually getting it. Looking at that rear wing, you can hear the bug allowing it to them with the button, but you just don't get it. Unfortunately, that's really tough there for Niffo. They've got another opportunity to bring it back, but I only say another opportunity because realistically it's going to be their last chance before the cars ahead try and break away. And by the time Niffo has got that DRS, if they can hold on to it here, then they will have used all of their resource to try and catch up. And it's so tight. It's so difficult. I don't know what to say. Are they going to get there? Well, Verf is trying to catch up to Egapro, and they've broke so late as Niffo, and they've still managed to get there. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know how they've just done that, but they sent it with all their might, and they're now in the train for P1. Lap 24 to 26. We've not got long to go in this Grand Prix. It's Heischler, who had damage on the second lap of the Grand Prix. So did Igapro. They're P1 and P2 right now. Verf starting on pole position, going to P9 on the opening lap. Now P3. It's Nifo, who was P last after a terrible pit stop and a time penalty, and they're now P4. Jericho Willis, P5, and Charlie in P6. I don't know why the game just did that. Zingy, of course, having their connection issues, which is such a shame to see them not in a race like we've had today. It's Heischler about to start the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. And it's Igor who is going to have to do the pressure management. They have to read the car in front. They have to not make a mistake. Oh, and Verf's got through. Verf's got through. The pressure has got there. And a bit of a snap for Igor is going to change everything. ERS is still available. They've saved a nice amount. But now DRS is not available for Verf. And DRS is lost. Heischler's got an opportunity. Tyres are not optimal for the cars behind, except from Nifoyan relative to Heischler, but they're 2 cars back. They're 2 cars back. Nifo's got to make some moves. They've got to try and go for something aggressive, and they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Sending it on the brakes once more. They've got the grip. They've got the confidence. They had the pole position in the sprint race, and they're going to get around the outside. Some incredible driving right now in the final moments. But Verf still hasn't got DRS range. And Nifo is going to try and get ahead of the Sauber car. Time penalty wise, it's going to be difficult to take, of course. They're trying to lose minimal time in this race and do everything they can to prove a point, and they're doing so for sure. 1.3 seconds, Heischler leads the way. It's Verf in P2 with a big old hungry bull directly behind them. It's going to be one hell of a battle. The final lap begins. Heischler leads the way, on cue to take their second victory of the season, their third of their career. But this is the closest battle that we're going to get. This is the battle to watch. The final lap attempt at getting to P2 on track. Nifo's not got much battery, and they've not got traction either. Track position is going to be everything that they want to try and gain, because they know the time penalty is going to be tough. Igapro drops back after this battle or chase is going on right now. Charlie's dropped back. Jericho has dropped back. It's Nifo who wants to go for the overtake. There's Igor just watching this battle. And Charlie struggling with those tyres. Really tough to take. Maybe wasn't the right call. But this is what we're looking for in these final few corners of the Grand Prix. Will Nifo have an opportunity to make it work, to get to P2 after a roller coaster race that they've had? DRS, ERS is available. Stowe Corner up next. They gain, there's no battery. Oh, there's no opportunity. There is one more braking point that they could go for, but they're going to be too far back. Heischler is going to round the final few corners, and with an absolutely miracle day, they win the British Grand Prix. Verf in P2 and Nifo in P3. It promotes Igor to P3 with the time penalty that they've had. And that is one hell of a race. Jericho Willis followed by Charlie and then Nifo. Dropping down the order, Verf extends their championship lead and has an incredible recovery from the start of the race that they had. We go through the race director first, just in case, as we take a breather before we do. Read through the results. Heischler wins the British Grand Prix with Verf in P2. We've got Igapro, Jericho Willis, Charlie, Nifo, and then disconnecting was Zingy, and DNFing was Selkin and Brusco Jr. We'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the British Grand Prix. That was a hell of a race. That's all I can really describe it as. We start with Charlie. Charlie, that was a tough one. A lot of intensity, a lot of train running all the way to the end, but the tyre situation with the safety cars just didn't work out for you, did it?
Yeah, the safety car was really unlucky. I mean, not in the way that the timing was unlucky. It's just that, well, in hindsight, I should have chosen the harder compounds before the race. And so after this second safety car, I was only left with one spare set of mediums. So yeah, they just didn't last to the end.
Yeah.
And that's basically all.
That's tough to take. That is tough to take for sure. I mean, your sprint race, how did you find that?
I had literally no pace. I just felt like I was missing something. Like, I don't know. Everyone around me like improved so much, and I'm just nowhere right now. So yeah, that's kind of that's kind of demotivating. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like overall, I still have like a very low motivation for the game. I kind of struggle like to even play it. So I don't know. I'm just like not improving at all, and everyone around me is improving. So I think I just have to like live with it.
Well, I hope you can get through it. And thank you very much for racing. We do appreciate seeing you on the grid. So we'll hopefully see you soon. Thank you very much, Charlie. Really good effort today.
Thanks.
And we move on to Heischler. Heischler, congratulations. Your third victory of your career, second of the season. And really making it work quite nicely for McLaren. How about that?
Wait. Oh, okay, my mic is working. Yeah. I found it interesting, the difference, to be honest, between the quality pace and race pace for me, but I don't mind it. It's helping me both in Singapore and Silverstone now. So yeah, it's a great race from my side, great race for McLaren again, because we made the gap in the championship quite big, I think, now. With Singy sadly not taking part and Nifo, where did he finish? I don't know. He had a 10-second. I don't know if it's legit, but that's put him P6, I believe, probably. So yeah, that's good for McLaren. Great for me to have some hope still in the championship after multiple difficulties this season so far, which are just completely out of my control, and I was really frustrated and lost a lot of hope to even win the championship. But now I believe I'm right back into it. Maybe 16 points or something behind Firth now, and I think that gap is... I can make up that gap. Firth is quick in quali, but I feel like I have the edge over him in the race, in strategy, and in just race IQ and race pace. So I think I can make up for it. The worst tracks, except for Hungary, are now out of the way. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I am not really practicing that much for it, even though Charlie thinks we are all improving a lot. I just found some consistency, some more smarter driving, and just better driving overall. And that's helping me, and that's the first time I have now 2 wins in a league outside of PHL, and I believe I'm the first driver to have 2 wins in this season, if I'm correct.
No, unfortunately not. That is with race 1 and race 4. You're joint first in the most race wins.
Well, let's change this next race then.
I like to hear it. Thank you very much, Heischler. It's really good to hear that you're enjoying it and finding some good form. Let's see how it goes in Monza. Have a good one. Thank you.
Shit, Monza.
And we move on to Jericho Willis. Jericho Willis, I don't know what to say. Absolutely gut-wrenching, fighting for the victory. Then to have all of that just change up and basically flip the entire grid. Can you take us through your race? Because there's just too much.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. First of all, I really enjoyed today. It was a lot of fun, and was talking with Heish before the race, trying to motivate him, get him pumped up because like you said, he's been feeling frustrated that he's out of the championship, and I said, no way, there absolutely no way. If we can both start pumping in some good results and beating the main competition, you're absolutely in this, and I prioritize him because I'm actually scheduled to miss 3 of the last 4 races, so I'm not concerned about my championship battle other than the team and just doing the best I can each weekend for the team and to help Paish out when I can, which was tough in the sprint qualifying or in the sprint race rather. Because I was on the better tire, and as it got late in the race, I knew he was struggling, and it was going to be difficult with the older tire to push along. So I said, let me have a crack at it, and I had a big tire advantage, so I was able to push and make a move, and that took the rest of the tires and DRS out of NIFO and was able to get Heish that move as well. And I was trying to watch him carefully to see if we could switch back before the line, but it was just a little too late to do that. So that didn't work out. But we did both finish ahead of the rivals, and that was huge. And then in the main race, qualifying was pretty good. I was up 2/10 on my last lap, so I think I could have done better there, but it didn't really matter. The race pace was really strong, and felt really good about the race. I think we were on for a pretty healthy podium today. And if Heish had any issues, I think we could have been there for the win. And pit lane, 10-second penalty. Pretty sure that was bogus. I've been practicing the pits there because the speed is low at 60, which is a pretty low speed for pit entry. So you got to be really careful. I was practicing them and practicing on bringing my eyes down to the speedometer just as you come across the line. And had 58 coming across the line. Felt like I nailed it, and then it popped up the penalty. So I thought that was really strange. So. Didn't matter. I ended up serving the penalty. We talked about it. We were on the voice chat where I talked about with Heish whether I should take the penalty or not. And I figured it was not worth the risk of the penalty. Plus, people don't know how to race you. Once you're in mid race, it's kind of weird. So opted to do another pit stop right away to serve the penalty, which obviously dropped me back. And then the game glitched again and gave me another 10-second penalty, and then it disappeared. So it was strange, but so I'm not really sure what was going on there, but unfortunate. Then being at the back of the train, it was just a patience game. Try to wait for the tires to come in, and then they did. But Charlie's pace, he's down on himself, but his pace was really actually quite good, especially for an older tire. And I really had to force the issue because he was the one to get around to try to make my way up. But he had really good pace, good racecraft, and so it wasn't easy. Had to really work for that. And Nifo was able to sit back and take advantage of it, and so he got us. And then I couldn't catch back up to him, even though at the end of the race had really good pace again. Even though the ERS was running on 0. For that entire end of the race, like every straight stretch, it went to 0 and then charged through the corners and then back to 0 on the next straight stretch. So the pace was really, really good at the end, but it just ran out of laps, and really wanted to finish 1-2 for McLaren and get that points gap to the main competitors. But all in all, a very long-winded answer to your question, but have to be pretty happy with that, even though. I think there was a little bit more in it. I know the pace was really good this weekend, so I was looking forward to maximizing the result and didn't quite do that.
Yeah, I mean, you say it, as a team, it's a brilliant result. I will say on your side, looking at the performance so far this season and today, what could have been, I think you should be very proud of that. So don't take anything away from that. The pit lane is... not where cars go fast, and you've been going fast everywhere else. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to the end of the stream. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for the Great British Grand Prix for the F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you next weekend for the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. That will be absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.